So can I count on you? One last time?
All right, kid. Let's go do it. One last time.
Welcome back to day 13 of 50 Days of Drake. Today we're going to talk about Uncharted 3's Easter eggs. A lot of them repeat throughout the games, but we're going to talk about all of them anyway, just so you know where to find them for the most part. The first one I want to talk about, of course, is the Last of Us Easter egg. I love this one so much because they were supposed to announce The Last of Us in June of 2011, and they wound up pushing it back till December of 2011 after the game had come out already. Now, they put this little Easter egg in there thinking that the announcement would have already been made and it would have been like a nice little Easter egg. But when you're working on a game that big, I guess, you forget about all the little things to go back to. So they forgot that it was there. Neil Druckmann actually signed off on it, and they forgot to take it back out once they pushed back the announcement date for The Last of Us. So they almost like ruined the surprise for everyone. But now it's there forever, and I love that it's there. I'm glad they didn't take it out. So if you go over to the bar in the first cutscene where you actually get to play as Drake, you walk around the bar. There's a newspaper on the bar, which also, the name of the bar is Harris, and one of the henchmen is actually named Harris, now that I think of it. So that's probably an Easter egg that I probably should have put on there, but the guy who gets eaten up by the spiders, his name is Harris, I believe, so check that one out. So that might be an honorable mention for this video. So it's on the bar with the picture and the headline that reads, "Scientists are still struggling to understand deadly fungus," which is the whole basis of The Last of Us. And I love how they kind of share a universe. I wonder if we're going to find any little Easter eggs in Uncharted 4 talking about future game that we just might not know yet. And you know, I'll be searching through this game to find every little bit that I can. So I'm going to be going through that game like crazy. I'll be looking, my eyes will be peeled. So for number 2, for the second Easter egg, is a hard one. I don't know if it counts as an Easter egg, but when you're in the bar, there's a little machine, a little game called Genie. It has the name Genie on it, and kind of refers back to in the last chapters of the game where Sully and Nate are talking about when they figured out finally, you know, what Marlowe is after in the end. And he goes, you know, and the souls of the jinn were cast down, and Sully goes, so like a genie in a bottle. So I thought that was cool, and I don't know if that's like a little reference, a little heads up to what's coming down the line. That was the beginning of the game, and then he says it at the end of the game. I don't know, but there's a reference to a genie in the bar, and at the end, the last few chapters of the game. I think it's almost the last chapter of the game, actually. The third Easter egg is Sackboy dressed as Nathan Drake. He's on the bus where Sully, Nate, and Chloe and Cutter are escaping after they just plowed through like so many of Marlowe's men, and they're escaping on the bus. And if you look closely, the little Sackboy is hanging on the rearview mirror of the bus. It's hard to get like a close-up of it, but I'm sure you can. But that is Sackboy Drake. Easter egg number 4. The poem that Marlowe reads while Drake is literally wandering around in the desert forever by himself is it's a poem by T.S. Eliot, which they talk about him a lot in this game. You know, Lawrence of Arabia, and this particular poem is called The Wasteland. And if you look at the actual poem, I have a little piece of it, just the one that Marlowe is speaking over Nate when he's like crawling, trying to find some shelter, trying to find some some sort of, you know, reprieve from the unbearable sun just beating down on him. He has no food, no water, no shade, nothing. So she, and in his mind, he hears her saying this. So I love that they made it Marlo doing the voiceover for that, which was pretty cool, because she's just so evil. She's such a really good bitch. She's a good bad guy. So when she's reading it, if you read the poem, it actually kind of mirrors what's happening to Drake on his journey throughout this whole game, which is really interesting. You should look it up, read the whole thing, because it's, you know, it's not long, but it's really cool. So I like how it mirrors Drake's journey as it does in the poem as well. Which is fifth Easter egg. Is Mr. Sullivan on the front page of that newspaper? Doesn't that look like Sully? This is in the Yemen chapter. It's just on a random newspaper thrown on the ground. So if you look at the newspaper, obviously you cannot read the language, but you see it looks like a young Sully in the picture. So is that really Sully? I don't know if it's really him, but it looks just like young Sully. So, like, he's just a wanted man. He's a wanted man. He's wanted everywhere. He's always getting into trouble. Now, this one's hard to see and hard to find. If you're in the bar, the beginning of, I think it's the Pelican Bar. I think that's the name of it. And it's up on the wall near a doorway. And there's 3 bars, little plaques. One that says Uncharted 1, 2007, Speedrun Champ. Uncharted 2, 2009, Speedrun Champ. Uncharted 3, 2011, Speedrun Champ, which I thought was just, what? He put a speedrun in there? And the fact that they do have now a Speedrun Champion trophies in the Uncharted collection, I love that. So I like how it's connected to the trophies, which will probably do a top 10 best trophies from each game, or maybe from all the games total. I don't know. We'll have to see. Number 7, Kitty Got Wet. We talked about this one yesterday in yesterday's video. It was first said in Uncharted 2 game. In Uncharted 3, this is something that Nate says to Cutter when they're in the puzzle room, where they have to get the water to come up, and then they could swim across to, you know, move the mechanisms, and so they can get the puzzle going, so they can solve the puzzle. And he says it to Cutter. "Oh, Kitty don't like getting wet." And he's like, "No, I do not." So I love that line. It's one of like the most iconic lines. I wonder if they'll say it in Uncharted 4. Anyway, so that's number 7. Number 8 is Strange Relic. This is one that has been throughout all the games, and I know I've said that, but I just wanted to include it so we have like a comprehensive list. Strange Relic is also found in Chapter 5, as it was found in Chapter 5 in Uncharted 2. We will have to look at Chapter 5 on Uncharted 4 and see if it shows up again, if it shows up at all. It would be pretty cool if it shows up in Chapter 5 again. The last Easter egg for Uncharted 3 is the Naughty Dog Inc., the NDI initials, found throughout the game. Also on Nate's shoulder holster, you know, his gun holster, of course, everyone knows that one. And in the Rough Seas chapter, there's a container that you see the NDI. So it's, you know, it's those are scattered throughout the game. So I love that. One thing that I wanted to always find out in The Last of Us, I know this has nothing to do with Uncharted, but they had throughout the whole game in different sections of the country, BFC was on containers, like NDI was written on the containers in Uncharted 3. So I'm just wondering, does anyone know what that is? Any of my Last of Us people out there? Because I've never found out what that meant, and I wonder if it's going to be a nod to a future Easter egg. Very interesting, because I am hoping and praying after Uncharted 4 is all done and they've done all the press for it. Neo, are you alive? My dog has been, I don't think he's moved this entire time. I'm sorry. I just had to make sure he was still breathing. He is 13, so I got to keep an eye out for him. Oh my God. Anyway, so if anybody knows anything about the BFC in The Last of Us, let me know. But that's just a side note. So that's all of the Easter eggs for Uncharted 3. Please forgive me if I have forgotten any, or if I have mentioned it in the other video and I forgot to mention it in this video. So let me know in the comments. So please don't be too mad if I forgot. If I forgot, I did a lot of research the last few days on this. So it's just a lot of stuff. So anyway, thanks for watching. Be back tomorrow for day 12. We are so close to single digits. I can't even. So thanks for watching, guys. Come back tomorrow. Thanks for all the support on this series. I really appreciate it. Thanks, guys.